I remember one small choice, a single word spoken on a quiet afternoon years ago. Someone I cared for invited me on a last-minute trip, a spontaneous adventure to a place I had always dreamed of seeing. It was a simple yes or no. For reasons that felt sensible at the time, work, responsibility, the tyranny of the practical, I said no. That moment passed, as all moments do. But the memory of it did not. It hardened over time. It became a small, smooth stone of regret I carried in my mind, a fixed point in my personal history. It was done. It was unchangeable. That is how we think of the past. A country we have left behind. But what if it is not? What if the past is not a fixed landscape made of stone? Imagine, for a moment, it is more like clay, still soft, still impressionable. What if an action we take today could reach back and reshape that moment? What if, by looking at our past in a new way, we could alter what actually happened? Science fiction, fantasy, impossible dreams. Yet this idea has roots, however speculative, in strange, mind-bending physics. To understand how the past could possibly change, we first need to visit the quantum world. This is the realm of atoms and the particles they are made of. Down here, things get weird. The rules of our everyday world fall apart. One of the most famous examples of this weirdness is something called the observer effect. In simple terms, it means that the act of watching something can change what it does. Imagine a tiny particle, like an electron. When we are not looking, this electron does not behave like a solid little ball. It acts more like a wave of possibilities, existing in many places at once, a ghostly smear of potential. This is not just a cool theory, it is something we can see in action. Scientists proved this with a famous experiment called the double-slit experiment. They fired electrons toward two thin parallel slits. On the other side, a screen recorded where they landed. When nobody watched which slit each electron went through, the electrons behaved like waves, passing through both slits, interfering with themselves and creating a distinct pattern of stripes. But then the scientists got sneaky. They placed a detector at the slits, and the moment they started watching, everything changed. Observation forced the electron to make a choice. The wave of possibilities collapsed into a single concrete reality. The interference vanished, replaced by two simple stripes. This is the observer effect. The observer effect is strange enough on its own. It shows that our present act of looking can define what is happening right now. But physicists pushed further, designing the delayed choice quantum eraser, a variation of the double-slit experiment with a dramatic twist. Here, the decision to observe the electron's path, or not, is made after the electron has already passed through the slits. Think about that. The choice is delayed until the past action is supposedly over and done with. The which path information is recorded, and the scientist can either look at it or erase it. If they choose to look, the result is a particle pattern with no interference. But if they erase that information, making it impossible ever to know the path, the wave pattern magically reappears. It is as if the present choice travels backward to change earlier behavior. This idea is known as retrocausality, controversial, debated, and subtle. Most scientists say it does not let you send messages to the past or change history. The effects are statistical within quantum systems. The universe does not seem to allow paradoxes, yet delayed choice cracks a door. Causality might not be a one-way street. For now, hints live only in the microscopic world. There is no evidence they scale to people or events. But science asks, what if? Now we leave the firm ground of established science and enter speculation. Let us perform a thought experiment. What if retrocausality was not just for tiny particles? What if it applied to the vast systems of our lives and our memories? What if a choice we make today could ripple backward and reshape a moment from our past? Think back to my story of regret, the trip I said no to. If I choose today to live more spontaneously, to embrace adventure, could that act reach back and change the no to a yes? If the past did change, how would we know? Our memories are reconstructions, stories we tell ourselves. If the event was altered, our memory would be too. I would not remember my regret. I would remember packing my bags, the sights and sounds of that trip. I would be a different person, shaped by different experiences. The person who felt regret would be gone, replaced by someone with a richer, happier past. Who are you, if not the sum of your past? If that past dances with your present and future, then identity is fluid. You are not a static statue. You are a river whose course can be altered downstream. Your present self is, in a way, one of your past's architects. If present observation helps determine the past, was your past self truly free? Perhaps free will is the harmony of an entire timeline, two sides of one coin, making a consistent loop. Let's zoom out from the personal to the public. If a person's past can be reshaped, what about our collective past? What would this mean for historians and archaeologists, professional observers of the past? If their act of discovery could alter the events they study, history would become a living, breathing thing. A new discovery would not just add knowledge. It could, in this speculative world, rewrite the very history that produced the artifact. Could observations solidify one possible past out of many? In our world, we assume facts pre-exist. In a retrocausal universe, discovery and fact intertwine. Scientists and historians become co-authors. This leads to deep paradoxes. The grandfather paradox. Prevent a meeting, erase your own existence, collapse the loop. Possible solutions. Branching timelines. The many worlds interpretation, where changes create parallel histories. Or Novikov's self-consistency. No paradoxes allowed, only outcomes consistent with the present, forming stable loops. The implications go beyond science and history. They strike at philosophy, morality, and justice. We hold people accountable for their past actions. Our legal system assumes the past is fixed. But if the past can be influenced by the present, who is responsible? Could later choices yield a past where the crime never occurred? It could unravel justice or deepen responsibility. If today can heal your past, every moment grows in importance. Present actions build a better future. And poetically, mend your past. A cosmic revision toward coherence. You are responsible not just for what you will become, but for what you have been. Reality is not merely a stage. We are also the stagehands and playwrights, participants in creation. This blurs mind and matter, story and world. The universe looks less like a machine and more like a co-authored story. Yet we must anchor ourselves again. So we stand before a kind of quantum mirror. An ordinary mirror shows our present reflection. The quantum mirror seems to cast a shadow back onto our past. Time asks to be seen not as a straight line, but as an interconnected web. The past, the present, the future are neighboring provinces. What happens in one can be felt in the others. This is not a license to deny history or evade responsibility. It is an invitation to see the present as immensely powerful. The choices we make now are about our entire story. By choosing to learn, to forgive, to be brave, or to be kind, we shape not just our future self. In a poetic sense, we may be offering a better past to the person we once were, sending a message of hope and coherence. This journey humbles us. The universe is vast, mysterious, and stranger than we imagine. Its laws even hint at a malleable past. Science is a way of asking questions, probing the darkness with a small candle of curiosity. Look into your past. Find a small stone of regret.